What's up YouTube, Never Lucky Pulse here, today with my Locust review. I played Kashtira and match 1 was against Branded Despia with Bestials. He had one Magma Hood in his starting hand, but he was obviously useless against my deck. I opened up Terraforming, which means I have full combo. The field spell gives me Unicorn and Unicorn gives me Theosis or the Birth, depending on what I have in my starting hand. Plus I had Rite of Ermazir, means I have the full Kashtira combo, plus the Omni Negate on the field, which is insane. That's the dream start you want to have with a Kashtira-Adventure. So you have protection against Nibiru or some other trap cards, plus your full combo, which means you will most likely win the game. There is little hope left for him, unless he has like Lava Golem or Sphere Mode in the main deck, or double Book of Eclipse, whatever. That's the only out, but in general you will lose the game if you see this board. So yeah, my end board is the Shangri-La, the Kashtira-Adventure-Token, the number 89 for the Banish from the extra deck, the Griffin Negate and the Token. Plus I will get Fenrir in the standby phase. I banished the Mud Dragon from his extra deck because he has Super Poly in his deck and he can't use it if he has no target, and the Mud Dragon is the only target to clean the board with Super Poly, so I banished it straight away. Set one card and pass turn. In the standby phase, like I said, special summoned Fenrir. And this board is very, very tough to break for him. He has only 2 zones left, and yeah, he opened up with the branded opening, discarding 1 card and special summoning Aluba from the deck to the field. Aluba activates his effect, but I have Fenrir. He will banish face down, which means it will trigger Shangri-La and number 89 again, and obviously a Rise-Side mandatory. So that means he has no zones left. I will banish all his zones. He was thinking about which card he wants to add, and after that I activated the Fenrir's effect in a new chain, and in the new chain as well the number 89, the Shangri-La and the Rise-Side. So he has no zones left, which means the game is pretty much over. So he had a couple of spells. He could summon 1 extra deck monster by using the necessary cards from his hand. It was Magma Hood and some other branded card. But his boss monster was not enough to make any changes. It was the Dust Dragon, the new support card for the Despia deck. But yeah, there's no chance he can do anything. I have the Banish with the Rise-Side left. I have the Omni Negate with the Griffin. So yeah, the game was over, and he knew it also. And we were just chatting. I was asking about the effect because I didn't know his effect. He went obviously first, not allowing me to block the zones, obviously. He opened up with Aluba, searched himself the Branded Fusion. I had 1 Ash in my starting hand, so I was waiting patiently for the Branded Fusion to activate. But he had the Extender in his starting hand as well, the Fusion Deployment. So he shows 1 extra deck monster and can special summon 1 of the materials listed on it. He went for Cartesia. I negated with Ash the Branded Fusion, but Cartesia was still on the field, so he can basically fusion summon, and went for the Dust Dragon, but he couldn't go full combo since I had the Ash against the Branded Fusion. So if you have Ash in the Despia matchup, you basically have a very, very good feeling, and you will most of the times win the duel. So he set 1 card, had 1 additional monster on the field and passed turn. It was Magma Hood on the field. He got himself the Lubellion. And yeah, pass turn. In my turn I had the Board Breaker, the evenly matched, so he had to banish 2 of his cards. And plus I had full combo with the field spell, and yeah, from this point the game was basically lost for him, to be serious. I mean, he lost so many resources, he has no access to Branded Fusion. Plus I have the full combo on the field. No Brave Engine because I started the Brave tokens out. Going second, the Brave Engine is a bit useless. You rather want to see more copies of Nibiru, some board breakers like Evenly Matched, Triple Tactics Trust, Triple Tactics, whatever. So you don't want to see the Rite of Ermazir in your hand plus the Water Enchanters or Griffin brick. So that's why I sided out the full Brave token engine in the second game. Obviously rewarded, right? I banished the Birth with a Rise-Side effect because I had the extender to banish the papayas, aka Theosis, to get me the birth back to my hand, and yeah, activated birth to get the monster reborn plus additional normal summons. The birth is such a crazy card in Kashtira. This card is insane. I increased it to 2 copies now. In my deck profile I showed you only 1 copy, but yeah, you have to play 2 copies. The card is too good. It's such a nice top deck. In the mirror match you need the 2nd copy, because most of the times Zeus will nuke your entire field, and if you have only 1 copy lying around you have a big disadvantage there. But yeah, with 2 copies you're on the safer side. 3 is a bit too much, but 2 is fine for me. As you can see, I summoned Dracossack to the field, destroyed his fusion monster, but he had a graveyard effect to special summon 1 additional fusion monster. The summoned monster was useless, there was no interruption to be feared. So I went for the number 89 and banished 1 of his monsters. The Mud Dragon obviously again, but I made a misplay. I should have went straight away for the number 89, banishing 1 of his cards, triggering Shangri-La and destroying with my field spell his fusion monster. So that would be a better way to clean his board, but yeah, it's easy to talk right after the match is done and you see all the cards, but that would be a better line to improve my game. But it didn't matter. I mean, I had full combo, he had like 2 or 3 cards left in his hand, so there was nothing he can do to stop my field. And with Birth lying around, it's also very tough, because if he activates 1 of his spell cards, I can banish 3 targets in his graveyard, and most of the time the branded player needs a couple of graveyard targets for his plays, and if I banish them it will get very tough, as you can see now. I banish them, plus they are triggering the Shangri-La and the number 89, which means I will banish even more cards from his deck. And yeah, that was basically over for him. As you can see, he banished a bunch of cards again and had nothing really left on the field. So it's very, very broken. The number 89 is a super, super powerful card. Especially if you resolve him the 2nd time, you will banish more than half of your opponent's deck with the effect. It's super, super insane. Don't know if you should play 2 copies of number 89, but I think 1 copy is enough. Two was against Pride. I once again won the dice roll and opened up Godly. I had Unicorn, Water Enchantress and Fog King in my starting hand, which is the absolute dream for my deck. I started with Water Enchantress to get me the Writer from Azir. Special Unicorn gets me the spell card. My opponent had no hand trap to stop me, so I had nothing to fear. Activated the Writer from Azir, normal summoned the Fog King, triggering Fateful Adventure, searching me the Draco bag and the Griffin. And with Fog King on the field, no player can tribute cards, means Kurvikala, Nibiru, Lava Golem, all the Kaijus, Ra, Sphere Mode. You can't use these cards because of Fog King. So he's the ultimate protection against the tribute mass removal cards. And yeah, from this point I knew the game was over. I mean, my opponent can't do anything. No hand trap, plus I have full combo in all my engines. Means I will win definitely the game. Unless he has a super sick broken going 2nd hand, but that's not the case. Even though his starting hand was very good for going 2nd, he first started his play with a Sprite starter. I negated the starter with my Ash. He followed up with triple tactics talent to take 1 of my monsters. I obviously negated it with Griffin. I have to negate, otherwise he will go into Zeus and nuke my entire field. So he followed up with Book of Eclipse. I was like, okay, cool, nice starting hand. So everything was flipped. And he had a 2nd tactics, but he decided to draw 2 cards and didn't draw into combo and had to scoop, unfortunately, but crazy hand for him as well. Game 2, he went first. His opening hand was very strong. Fenrir, getting another Fenrir, normal summoning his fish, special summoning Carrot, activating starter. I had 1 Ash to negate the starter, but it didn't help. He had still full combo. I had Nibiru and Evenly Meshed in my hand as well, but he was playing around Nibiru. First he was thinking about going into sprint, but yeah, he decided to go for Gigantic first. and my Nibiru was dead, unfortunately for me. And yeah, he got himself the blue gets the red, and yeah, the Jet was also in the starting end, so he had the full mega combo with Sprite, plus the double cross as well. So his import was very strong, the Sprint, the Masquerena, and one Monster Negator red. But I had a Pot of Prosperity, so digging maybe for another evenly, that was my goal, in case he has double cross and activates it to special summon, carry it back. I took the second evenly matched, went into the battle phase, but before the battle he went into his Magnite monster, the Link 4 Magnite. But yeah, I don't know. I can out it easily with Happiness. Happiness negates all the effects on the field, or I can go into Big Eye, so the Magnite isn't a problem. I activated evenly matched, and I was surprised he didn't activate the Monster Reborn trap. So yeah, cool for me. I had one additional evenly in my starting hand. Yeah, I went for Unicorn. The Theosis on Unicorn gets me Fenrir. Fenrir gets me all the other extenders, and yeah, the game was over from here on. So I had a big advantage. He lost a lot of resources. He can't revive his banished cards. The red especially, no monster negates left in his deck. And I have a strong board. Dracossack activating the effect to shoot his Gigantic, not allowing him to search for additional cards in his next turn. If I don't destroy him, he can special some additional sprites from the deck, getting the effects resolved. So the Draco play was the correct move here. I could also go for Big Eye, but the Gigantic is useless for me, and the tokens are more valuable. Plus they give protection, so I can use them later on, maybe for a second effect for Dracossack. That would be nice. So in my opinion, the Draco play is a better play compared to the Big Eye play. And yeah, in my following turn I could easy steamroll him, activating the effect to shoot Dracossack himself and Fenrir, tribute summoning Unicorn, and yeah, the full combo once again with Unicorn. Man, Unicorn is such a nice card, giving you the Theosis, and Theosis is super broken. The 2 effects in 1 round, you can special summon from your deck, and you can add back one of your banished Kashtira cards. So yeah, it's insane, man. I mean, just Konami moves, right? They have to release a new broken deck in order to make sales, and Kashtira is by far the best deck at the moment compared to the other ones. Even after the ban list now, I mean, Sprite is pretty much dead without Elf, and 2 elements, nobody played 2 elements at that day. I was very surprised, so Dimension Shifter is not needed in the main deck anymore for the Kashtira decks, in my opinion at least. It was against Sword Soul. I once again won the dice roll and opened up Godly. The full Brave engine plus the Kashtira engine, yeah, there was nothing my opponent could do. I special summoned Fenrir, searched for Rysart, activated Rite of Remisier, and yeah, the rest is basically the same like in the previous games you saw this combo line. The additional factor was here also Pot of Prosperity. I had him in my starting hand, so there was no chance I was breaking in the sand. I activated him in the end of this turn, but before that I went into the Xyz place, searched for Birth, and went into Shangri-La, and he activated Rysart, banishing the trap from my deck, banishing 3 cards from my opponent face down, activating Shangri-La, locking 1 zone. The zones are very important for Sword Soul, you need at least 2 zones, plus their Rysart is very painful. All your tennies are dead, you need them in your graveyard, but with them being banished is kinda hard to play. The only way is if you have the Monk, if you, let's say, sacrifice 1 Atara or 1 Vishuda, and you have Vishuda in your starting hand, you can banish Vishuda from your hand and bouncing 1 card back to my hand. So yeah, but you go -2 with this trade, which is not that great. And yeah, as you saw, I activated the Pot of Prosperity, digged for the Fog King, normal summon Fog King, and yeah, with this board, there was no chance my opponent could do anything. I mean, I'm protected against Nibiru, Lava Golems, whatever. And yeah, he had 1 impermed my Rysart, so the monsters weren't banished anymore if he had some Tennies in his starting hand. But I have still the Omni Negate with Griffin and Fog King to protect me. So his follow-up was Pot of Desires for 10. I mean, okay, this triggers Shangri-La and number 89. and he had like 19 cards left, and Shangri-La would banish 18 cards, means he would have 1 card left in his deck, which is insane. And yeah, he didn't want to banish his entire deck, so he had to use another Imperm. You will see it now in a couple of seconds. So he was counting the cards and realized he would lose his entire deck, so he had to activate Imperm to negate number 89, otherwise he would lose. So yeah, negated my 89, but yeah, he was out of resources. I mean, he wasted like 2 Imperms already and didn't clean anything. Activated the Emergence to search for 1 monster, but yeah, in the end he had to scoop. He normal summoned the Glacier, activated the effect, I had Ash to negate. He set 3 in past turn. My hand also was very bad. I had only the Rysat as a normal summon. Yeah, he had the anti-spell plus the Imperm to negate the effect of Rysat to become level 7. I banished for cost my Unicorn and yeah, went to the battle phase for 1-5 and yeah, set 1 in past turn. In his turn he drew 1, set 1, past turn. Yeah, very interesting game, right? I drew 1, activated the effect once again, banished my spell, the Theosis triggers in the banish pile, adding back the Unicorn. I activated Scarecrow in my hand to special summon him by banishing Unicorn from my hand. Now I have 2 monsters on the field, went into battle phase, so my opponent was on the clock, he had only 1 round left. I special summoned the Shangri-La, set 1 in past turn. In the standby phase I summoned Fenrir. He activated Book of Eclipse. I don't know why he was waiting. Activating the book in the draw phase is much better in my opinion, so you deny me the Fenrir. But yeah, it wouldn't change the outcome since he had the Baron de Fleur now on the field, and he had also the shooter to bounce my Shangri-La. And yeah, the game was lost from this point, I knew it. He shoot one of my back row line, it was the Triple Tactics Thrust, and the Book of Eclipse was left. I special summoned Fenrir, he had another Book of Eclipse, and yeah, that was the nail in the coffin for me. I hoped for a good draw with the Book of Eclipse, but my hand was very bad. I had like Nibiru evenly matched and Imperm in my hand left, and yeah. He went for Baron's effect, popped my Fenrir, special summoned the Monk, went to the battle phase for 4k damage, and in the battle phase, after the battle phase, I activated evenly matched. He negated it with Baron de Fleur after thinking for a while, but yeah, it was my only chance now. Since he has no negates left, I can top deck into Fenrir and Fenrir will win me the game, but it was not the case. I drew nothing and yeah, scooped. As you can see, my hand was Nibiru, Imperm and the Fog King. I let him go first because I knew he was siding for going second and I kept all my board breakers in the deck. So yeah, lucky for him, he had no Brick City this time. He opened full combo going first. I had Nibiru in my starting hand and the rest was mediocre. He normal summoned Moi, revealed the shooter, special summoned the token, activated Long Yuan's effect. I was afraid my Nibiru would be negated, but turns out he was greedy and went into the Sinister Long Yuan to get the maximum draw power. I punished it with Nibiru and he had to pass turn. My starting hand wasn't too great. I mean, I had to activate Scarecrow Kashtira to special summon him, banishing one of my important targets. And yeah, tributing Nibiru and my Scarecrow away to normal summon Unicorn to have my quote-unquote combo. That was my only play for this moment. So yeah, very unfortunate for me, a bad draw, no spell cards. So normal summon Unicorn, got myself the Theosis. Theosis gave me Fenrir and Fenrir gave me Rysat, which wasn't too great because I had Big Bang in my starting hand, so I couldn't go full combo. Unlucky draw, but it happens. Sometimes you semi-break with this deck as well and you have to make the best out of it. I don't know if Big Eye was the correct play. I took his token, he had like 5,600 attack points because yeah, I was afraid he would use the token against me, and yeah, I went to the battle phase but he activated evenly matched after that, so I lost Big Eye, was only left with the token and one set card. He had Ashuna, basically going to Monk, and with Ashuna's Graveyard effect he can special summon one additional Tiny to the field. And as you see, the Bashuda as well, bouncing the token, so he removed the token from the field. A plus point for me as well. I mean, if I top deck Unicorn, that's fantastic. Buddha with the effect of Ashuna and normal summoned Ash, went for Chang Ying with infinite attack points because a lot of cards are banished already. I had to activate Imperm on him because he would kill me, so I was not allowing it, and activated also Evenly Matched to banish his monk. I made a huge misplay. I had Imperm in my hand and Rysart. I had to negate the Chang Ying before normal summoning Rysart because he banishes, and when a card gets banished it triggers Chang Ying. I completely forgot it, so dumb of me. So yeah, I made a huge misplay and had to pay for it. He banished Nibiru and Rysart obviously, so I was left with Imperm and my Kashtira T element, and with less than 4000 life points, so I would lose the game. So I had to sacrifice my Kashtira T element, summoning her to the field in order to survive one more turn. And yeah, sucks man, I had the game in my hands, misplay, big misplay, but it happens. You learn from mistakes, right? So he's in summoned monk, and yeah, was thinking a lot about this play. I activated the Imperm on Chang Ying so he couldn't banish my monster, he had to go into the battle phase. And yeah, he did so after thinking for a long time. He decided to attack, but yeah, I was left with like 3000 or 2000 life points, I'm not sure. I was in a top deck mode, I had only 0 cards to be specific in my hand left, and yeah, I was in a top deck mode. Lucky for me guys, I drew into Birth. Birth was my top deck and Birth gave me the full combo, and from this point I won the game. Lucky for me, I had the game twice in my hands. The first time I gave it away, but the second time the Birth was the killing blow now. Yeah, for a very wild duel, but yeah, learned from my mistakes, and next time I will be more patient. All the results, 6-1 for the day, was a very good result. I didn't show you the other duels because of time issues obviously. But yeah, the deck performed very well and I'm very satisfied with my build. I will give you an updated deck profile soon.